Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics. Today we're going to be talking about centerpiece fish for a 125 gallon aquarium. We have been working our way through this series. We started with a 10 gallon. The last video we did was a 75 gallon. I will put those videos in the description below in case you want more options, even for a 125. In this video, I've picked 4 fish for you that I think would make great centerpiece fish for that 125. Now they had to meet certain criteria. One, they had to be large because it's a big tank. A 125 is a 6-foot tank. We want a big fish as our centerpiece. And they have to have either great personality or amazing color. Meeting all those criteria, let's take a look at our top 4. All right, coming in at number 4, and this is a great fish, something that we have had in the fish room for a long time, and that is the Midas Cichlid. You could also include the red devil cichlid in this category as well. Now this is a relatively big fish. Of the fish we're going to talk about on this list, this is the most aggressive of the 4 options, but it's still a fish where if you had some larger schooling fish, like maybe some silver dollars or some tinfoil barbs, if you've got a larger tank, this could work. Now they do get pretty big. They can reach about a foot or so. Males are more aggressive than the females. The one thing to keep in mind with the Midas Cichlid and the red devil is they do like to dig from time to time. And most likely you are not going to be keeping live plants with this fish because they're probably going to dig them up and tear them apart. But if you're looking for something that has really nice color and outstanding personality, the Midas Cichlid, as you can see it here, is a great option. Now, once again, just keep in mind you are going to have to choose your tank mates wisely with this fish. And by the way, if you're looking for more information about the fish featured in this video, check out the description. There'll be a lot more information for you there. We've got some species profiles, and then you can do your own homework, making sure that the centerpiece fish that you're choosing will go with the other fish that you're thinking about. Now coming in at number 3, this is a genus of fish, not one particular species, and depending on the genus that you pick, they can have some different personality characteristics. Here we're talking about the Vieja. Now again, there's lots of different species of Vieja, but 2 in particular I wanted to point out because they are so amazing. In our 125, we actually have a group of Vieja sinspilum, and they have absolutely outstanding color. Now we have 10 of them in a 125, and they've been getting along together fine for years. And so as a centerpiece fish, it's really the only fish we have in this aquarium at this point, and it's an absolutely outstanding fish. Now I would have no problems putting in things like silver dollars, rose-line sharks, maybe some Congo tetras, schooling fish that are a little bit on the larger side, and they would probably just ignore those fish. Now the other one that I really love, this is Vieja Argentia. Now this is an amazing fish with outstanding color. We actually have a couple of these in a 125. Now these ones are a little bit more aggressive, certainly more aggressive than the Vieja I've already mentioned, and just maybe a step or 2 below the Midas Cichlid and the red devil I mentioned earlier. But again, the colors on this fish are outstanding. It's going to get large. Again, it's going to approach a foot. Here I might recommend just keep one of them. Now, like the red devil and the Midas Cichlid, some of the Vieja like to eat plants. We really can't keep any green things in our 125 with the Vieja in there because they like to eat anything from hornwort to duckweed to guppy grass. You name it, they've pretty much eaten it if it's a plant. But they do show amazing color and have really nice personality as well. Again, just keep in mind, some of the Vieja are going to be a little bit more aggressive than others. Coming in at number 2, and this fish has made it really solely based on the fact that it has amazing color, and that is the Discus. Now the nice thing about the Discus is this is what can be a relatively large fish. By far has the most color of any fish that we're talking about on this list, and it is also, in my opinion, the most peaceful of the fish that we are talking about here today. And again, what we're looking for at the 125 is a fish that is going to be full of color and or personality, and that's really going to be that centerpiece for your aquarium, and so it's going to have some size. Now the nice thing about the Discus, like I said, you can keep multiples together and you are going to have a lot of color. The downside to the Discus is the fact that, well, you might have to be in the fish keeping hobby for a little while before you venture off into your Discus. They like warmer temperatures. They would prefer softer water if possible, and they would prefer water with a slightly lower pH, let's say 7 or below. Now, if you can meet those water requirements and you don't mind keeping your fish on the warmer side, the Discus may be for you. They are going to require some really good water quality in terms of keeping nitrates low as well. Now with the Discus, you can keep lots of different types of community type schooling fish, and they don't have to be quite as large as some of the fish that we've talked about for both your Midas and for your Vieja. They're not going to prey on the fish quite as much. They're also a lot calmer fish than the fish we've mentioned so far, and in fact, they will be the calmest fish of all the options that we have here today in this video. The other nice thing is, unlike all the other fish that we've mentioned in the video and will mention, the Discus is a relatively plant-safe fish. And so if you're looking for a planted 125, at least of the fish we're talking about here, the Discus may be for you. But again, I would definitely have some fish keeping experience before we venture off and start keeping Discus. Now, the last fish on my list of centerpiece fish for a 125, and I think some of you are probably anticipating because you're like, where is it so far? That is the Oscar. I absolutely love the Oscar. We've had them in 125s before. They are great fish. Now, with the Oscar, sometimes they get along well with one another in a 125. Sometimes it's best just to keep one. The safest bet for the Oscar is just keep one, but this isn't the ultimate centerpiece fish in my opinion because it has the best personality of any fish that I mentioned in this video, and possibly some of the best personality of any fish ever. Oscars are silly, they're goofy, they're gonna recognize you, they always look like they're thinking, they will pout in your fish tank if something doesn't go their way. They're amazing fish. Now keep in mind a few things about your Oscar if you are planning to keep it in a 125 as the centerpiece for that aquarium. One, they get large, and so it's very, very common for Oscars to get about a foot, maybe slightly larger, and they grow fast. They're the fastest growing fish of any fish we're talking about on this list. So you've got a large fish that grows fast, which means pay attention to the fish you're going to keep with your Oscar in that 125. We definitely want something that's not going to fit in the mouth of the Oscar. They're not overly aggressive fish, not by any stretch. In fact, except for the Discus, I would say the Oscar is the second most peaceful fish that we have on our list today. The problem is most fish will eat other fish if they will fit inside their mouth. And because the Oscar is a large fish with a large mouth, we have to be a little bit careful of our tank mates. And so again, I've got a species profile for our Oscars down in the description below. I highly recommend check that out. Good fish for schooling fish for an Oscar. Again, things like silver dollars and maybe some of your really large barbs might work out well. Just be a little bit careful with your tank mates, but you're going to get a fish with amazing personality. And there's different varieties of Oscars. You've got the reds, you've got the tigers, and the albinos. You even have longfin Oscars. So there's definitely some options there for you. So those were just 4 options of fish you can keep in a 125 that make a nice centerpiece for that aquarium. Going to have great personality, going to have a lot of color, and it's absolutely going to add some enjoyment to that tank. Again, make sure you do your research, making sure that you can keep the fish with them and keep them all happy and healthy. Would love to hear from you down in the comments section below. What is your favorite centerpiece fish for a 125? And if you're looking for more options, check out the videos, those other centerpiece options, because some of those smaller centerpiece fish can also look nice in a 125. Appreciate you being here, and we'll see you in the next one.